I don't know if most of the people listening to us spend as much time on things like Instagram and Twitter as I might, but if they are my age, they may also not be tremendously familiar with the idea of memes. What are memes?
Memes are those images that you see that have sort of, really short amounts of text, and they are often political, and they're designed to go viral. They're just supposed to catch your attention, be funny, or to slam somebody, make fun of the Democrats. And they're very, very visual pieces of information. And you see them a lot on Facebook, actually, as even probably more than other places for some reason, because the Facebook algorithm likes them, so they get promoted a little bit more than like regular newspaper articles and things like that. But they're just bits of information. Some people just call them propaganda when they're used in politics because they're visual and they're short and they're they play on people's emotions as opposed to like rational thinking.
Right. I mean, these are not, these are, almost like headlines, if you will, but they're in they are in a pre-existing construct. The best I can do for people to sort of give them a sense of, like, to the extent that memes existed prior to things like social media, is almost like the those ads, I think they were Budweiser ads from like 20 years ago or something, the "What's Up" guys. And they had created a structure, which was they get on the phones and they say, "What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?" And then from that, people started creating derivations of that, and it became shorthand. Well, we see this used in the political arena. Have political memes existed as long as memes have? I mean, when did these things start getting a little bit more weaponized?
Well, I think they're definitely a product of social media because they are quick and short, and also they go viral. And what's interesting about them is that they change constantly. So you have all these, millions of people who are online on social media, especially on platforms like Reddit, and 4chan, which, a little bit different communities of people, and they change them. So, I wrote about the way someone took a picture of Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, and this image of him from the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings, it went viral because people just played around with it, and they had Lindsey Graham in 200 different settings in the same picture, and with different little bits of text about him. And so that's what's kind of interesting about them. They're not fixed images. They're things that people add their own little color to.
And what is the value? Is it just simply that it's propaganda? But is there a quality to memes that are that much more valuable just simply because there is there's a relationship to a younger audience with these things that in some way resonate in the way that sort of other, I guess, political propaganda wouldn't?
I think so. I mean, there are people who think that Donald Trump was elected in part because of memes, and there were these communities, and a lot of it is from the alt-right. These are not, nice and friendly groups of people who launched a lot of these things. They have their own little chat, they're not chat rooms anymore, but they're like sites that they hang out on. And they promoted, during the 2016 presidential campaign, they promoted conspiracy theories, things like Hillary Clinton was really sick and that her health was questionable and therefore she was unelectable. And it wasn't true, but they just bombarded the internet with these images of Hillary looking sick and frail and with some text about it. And it forced the mainstream media to have to address these questions. And so it became, just a few memes turned into something that the campaign had to address, and the media in more mainstream platforms were talking about it. And I think that had an impact maybe on how people saw her during the campaign.
So you write in your piece about a guy named Benny Johnson. Now, Benny Johnson, some people may remember that I think he more or less got his start at BuzzFeed and then had to be let go because he was some type of editor, I think, and they found that he was plagiarizing a lot of stuff. Who better than to get hired by a conservative outfit? I would guess. So, what is Benny Johnson up to these days?
Well, Benny has been hired full time by a group called Turning Point USA, which is it's a campus/youth conservative group that was started by a guy named Charlie Kirk. And Benny's job with them is basically to go out across the country and to do workshops on college campuses to teach conservative kids how to do memes. And as he says, how to own the libs, because owning the libs is all about making good memes and making fun of liberals online.
I should say, I just saw footage of Benny Johnson addressing a Turning Points USA conference where he came out and exclaimed that he had never seen so many white people in one room. I thought that was at least appropriate and honest. And full disclosure, I've had my own debates with Charlie Kirk and whatnot. And we've talked quite a bit on this program about Turning Points USA. They do everything from sending college kids on conservative retreats to actually they've been charged with trying to fund campus elections. So they go all out, and they obviously have a lot of money. They've hired their own creative consultant or chief creative officer in Benny Johnson. So he's going around trying to teach people about memes. Where do we have some, like, I guess, history of, or what? So what is he's going around trying to own the libs. Like, what is, when they talk about this internally, like, what's the agenda? Is it just like we want to show that we're more, I don't know, biting online than the libs, as they say?
Well, my sense from talking to people is that it's almost like a form of proselytizing, because what the ultimate goal is, if you make a meme, especially a political meme, often those memes come out of these like alt-right sites, places on Reddit and 4chan, but the best ones make it through the meat grinder and get pushed onto more mainstream platforms. And that's where they want them, because they want people who aren't necessarily fixed in one party or the other to see these things. And that's where they catch their new members. You know, they want to persuade those people who are persuadable, because people on 4chan have already made up their minds about a lot of stuff, but there are people on Facebook who they think could go either way. And so their goal is to catch those people with these images, whether they're funny or, you know, just to find some little piece of information that really resonates with them that will draw them in and bring them over to their side. I think that's their ultimate goal and how they see it.
All right. Well, let me take a break here, and when we come back, I want to talk about more of these guys, particularly this guy Jeff Gieza, I guess is his name, and just how successful these memes are, and what's happening on the left to counteract that. We got to take a quick break. I'm talking to Stephanie Mencimer. We are talking about memes and how right-wing groups are training the next generation of social media warriors. I'm Sam Seder. This is Ring of Fire Radio. We'll be right back.